Wow! These are my famous squeaking caterpillars. They are indeed very famous online. Filming them always gets me a lot of views. But that's shallow entertainment, isn't it? Everybody wants to see these caterpillars squeak, but no one cares about their biology. So let's change that. Have you ever wondered what kind of moths these caterpillars turn into? No? Let me show you. Wow, amazing. Cute squeaky caterpillars get a lot of views on the internet. But did you know that these caterpillars transform into giant moths who look like autumn leaves? Meet Rhodinia verecunda, the Taiwanese squeaking silkmoth. And as you can see, they are absolutely beautiful. These giant moths here on this stick are the final form of the squeaky caterpillars that you can see on the internet and also on my channel. My name is Bart Coppens and I'm your favorite online entomologist. I study butterflies and moths in captivity, and today I'm going to educate you about the life cycle of this iconic and cute insect. Let's get started! Start the intro. Rhodinia species, let's go. I think it's been a year or 2 or 3 since I last raised Rhodinia. So I'm excited to see their caterpillars again. Some of the food plants here are cherry, cherry, hazelnut. These Rhodinia are very polyphagous, don't worry about finding the right food for them. You can give them just about literally anything. So, I forgot to show you. There you go. See this tiny little thing here? Doesn't look like much, but that's a caterpillar. And the brown stuff right here, it's obviously its eggs. There's some junk in here, because this is actually a filthy old petri dish. I should buy some fresh ones online, they're cheap. Just use the paintbrush. Small caterpillars are very vulnerable. In my opinion, the first instars are of many species the most difficult life stage. Put them in here. So you're wondering if you want to breed Rhodinia and it happens to be, well, if you live in Europe or in Asia where they are native, or in any place where it's actually legal to breed them in the first place, you'll find that they are willing to eat a lot of plants. I've raised them personally on oak tree, on beech, but also on several types of cherry, Prunus pales, bird cherry. Yeah, the Rhodinias, at least these species, Rhodinia, they don't seem to be very picky eaters when it comes to that. So it turns out we have only 2 caterpillars so far. But that's okay, because I have more eggs. So more of them should come out in a short time, I suppose. Put the lid on. Yeah. Yeah, these are just small babies. Don't worry, they'll get bigger. The caterpillars of this species can eat a lot of plants, for example willow, cherry, walnut, camphor, oak trees, sweet gum, hawthorn, and even more. I raised the first instar in plastic boxes. I know they are very small now, but trust me, they'll get really exciting when they grow bigger. Let's check back 4 days later. Wow, okay, many of them are already in star number 2, so that went pretty fast. So now they are more green and yellowish in color, but their sides are still dark. From this stage and beyond, I kind of want to keep them dry and more ventilated. Interestingly, some of them have blue tubercles in this instar, but not all of them do. I guess it varies per individual. They hatch from the egg sporadically, which is why you can see instar 1s between the instar 2s. They hatch from the eggs later. Let's put the small ones in a bigger cage. They deserve an upgrade in space. I'll show you. 1 week later. Let's check back about a week later. I also decided I want to upgrade them to a bigger enclosure. It's Rhodinia time! During the making of this video, a lot of people ask me, are Rhodinias, are they difficult to raise? In my opinion, they're not very difficult, no. So I do recommend having a basic experience with silk moths. Basic experience. Oops, have to be careful. It's not a species I recommend to a complete beginner, but you don't have to be a veteran to raise them. So it's intermediate, I think. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this instar number 3. Because that's what this is, instar number 3. And this is, I think this is one of the most pretty instars. Let me fix the light. Because after this instar they just tend to turn pure green. And they lose some of the black coloring. So, but like, just look at these blue tubercles. I'm sorry if these images are a little bit shaky. But wow, look at that. Is that not an incredible caterpillar? Very beautiful, no? I mean, let's zoom out. Compared to the size of my hand, they're still quite small. In the end, they will get pretty big. But this is progress. So inspecting some of these cherry leaves reveals some caterpillars, such as the one here on my thumb. But also, if you see here, here's another individual. So we definitely have a number of them left. Is there another one here? I don't know. Oh, here's another one in the back. I've not counted how many caterpillars we have, but it should be a pretty acceptable amount. Okay guys, I'm gonna be honest, so far it's looking great. Let me just turn a leaf. One caterpillar. Caterpillar number 2. Caterpillar number 3, here just on a few leaves. If I turn the caterpillar. 4, 5. I think they're doing pretty great overall. I see many of them. Alright people, that was it. Just going to say that I am so privileged to live in a country in Europe where all of this is legal. On my channel I always get comments from people from the United States, but also places like Brazil, like India. And these people are like, wow Bart, I'm so jealous of what you do. I wish I could do the same, but it's not legal in my country. And I'm gonna be honest, it's true, it is not legal in many countries. Perhaps including yours too. It sucks, I feel bad for that. I wish the government would be more supportive of the pet trade in more countries so other people can do the same thing. Then again, invasive species are always a problem, especially if you live in a tropical ecosystem or a very fragile or a unique one. Let's say that you are in Madagascar or Australia, then it's understandable. It sucks, but it's understandable. Because the introduced pets from the pet trade have done a lot of ecological damage worldwide. And I understand why some governments say, well, we're going to regulate this, it's unacceptable. It's the reality of the situation. Unfortunately, life is not fair. I see both sides of the argument, to be honest. But this is why my channel exists, so I can show the whole world some of the coolest moth species on the internet. You don't have to pay for it. It's free for you to enjoy. So well, there you go. I was actually hoping today that I could put them in a bigger cage, but many of the caterpillars are in the process of shedding their skins, and in this stage it's a very bad idea to disturb them too much. Ladies and gentlemen, I was running out of cages while the caterpillars have to go into a new cage. Thank you sponsors, everybody who donated. It's thanks to you that I can get the equipment I insects need, because this channel is demonetized. I ordered these online. Whoop. Well, this is what they look like when they arrive in the mail, but if you open this up, 3, 2, 1, ta-da! Perfectly good sized cage. You guys can see it? Look here. This is where I'm going to put the Rhodinia in. First, of course, I'm going to remove them from the old one, just to see how they are doing. Well, let's see, have a look. We'll be very careful with this. There you go. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, wow! Rhodinia have some of the coolest caterpillars in the Saturniidae world. Just look at those blue tubercules, I guess. It's so beautiful. Incredible. I'm so happy. Alright people, so looking at some of this plant alone, it looks really good. If I turn the leaf around, many caterpillars, see that? Great! Some of them now are still in star number 3, although many are in star 4 now. I upgraded them to a larger enclosure so they have even more space and food for themselves. This is instar number 4. In this instar they are starting to become a little squeaky, but they usually only squeak if you poke them. Don't worry, I will show you later. It's just that I prefer not to disturb my animals too much, believe it or not. As much I love to exploit them and the squeaking for views, it's important to not constantly do it. So I'll demonstrate it when they are fully grown, okay? You know, when I'm breeding moths, I love that moment when you can upgrade the small caterpillars into a bigger enclosure. It's like, wow, they've outgrown their tiny house. It's like your kids are going to high school. I bet mothers who are watching this can relate. Yeah, I know it sounds weird. It's like, hey, you're halfway there, you know, there's progress, there's been growth. And now they're almost in star number 4, and soon they will be 5 if everything goes well and I don't mess it up. Rhodinia need moderate temperature, so room temperature is pretty okay for them. So yeah, it's looking pretty well. I like it. I like you too, by the way. Yes, you there watching you right now. I love you. I would marry you in a heartbeat. So let's close the cage. And well, I guess we're going to take them indoors and check back next week. Ta la la la, about 8 days later. Skip time. Right, let's check up on the Rhodinia. See how they are doing. This is just looking great, ladies and gentlemen. Can they squeak yet? Let's see. A little bit. Thing about these caterpillars, at some stage, usually in star 4, in star 5, they will start to squeak if you touch them and bother them a little. It seems to squeeze a little bit, but not very audible. Anyway, the caterpillar is absolutely beautiful and its shape is very unique. Look at this weird pyramid-shaped thorax. And here we see a very nice row of blue spots. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now I'm filming these specimens in artificial light, so in daylight the color is even better. They're like this very nice neon green. Very beautiful if you ask me. It's Rhodinia species are really nice and underrated. Not many people breed them, but a lot of species are pretty easy to breed if you have the food for them. Right now I am raising these cuties on cherry. Brunus padus, bird cherry, it's the European bird cherry. But the cool thing about these species is they can eat a lot. I'm pretty confident you can also raise them on stuff like willow, oak, many varieties of cherries, perhaps even birch. I have to look in the literature to make sure I'm not naming a few plants that they do not eat or spreading misinformation, but I guess at the end of this video I will include a list of their potential plants. But their potential plants are actually honestly a lot of plants. Big variety that they can eat. So that's very convenient. Like, a lot of breeders probably have the plants to raise these at home. Alright people, so my breeding project is going very well. It's easy to see the caterpillars. 1, 2, But if we here look in the vegetation, we see like number 3, number 4. I've not counted how many we have in total, and that's strange. I actually rarely make a habit out of counting how many I have, which seems counterintuitive, but that's just the way I do things. I'm not a breeder that likes to obsess about the individuals too much. People gonna ask me, tell me that I'm weird for doing that, but hey. But I did find something very peculiar. Can you see this caterpillar? I don't know if you guys can see it, but something cool is going on with it. So its head here in the front is kind of tiny, transparent and small. What does that mean? It means it's shedding the skin to its final instar, the final life stage. That is pretty cool. Let's see if we can get a close-up. So this is instar number 4, but soon, I imagine in maybe 1 or 2 days time, this will be the final instar, instar number 5, after it has shed its skin. That's pretty cool. It means that we are kind of entering the final stages soon. So one thing I will always say, don't count your chickens before they hatch, but things are looking up for me. Wow, the final instar is coming. Let's check back 3 days later. Alright people, let's check some of that progress right there. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we have the final and 5th instar. And in the final stage, this species develops a very funny trait. They squeak! If you harass them, they squeak, listen. Funny, isn't it? I'm sorry for harassing this caterpillar for views, people. But I thought this defense mechanism was so interesting, it's impossible to leave it out. It's so amazing. So don't worry about the caterpillar's health. I'm just gently squeezing it a little bit, but it doesn't harm it. As you can see, I've done a good job at raising them. And the reason how it makes the sound is squeezing air through its spiracula. Now, I've explained this before on my channel, but insects more or less breathe by a process called diffusion, which is a more passive form of breathing. I know new scientific studies have emerged that present evidence for the effect that yes, some insects can actually forcefully breathe by forcing air through their spiracles, but it's still a more passive form of breathing. So what they do is basically they force air through the breathing tubes on their body, and when it happens it produces a squeaking noise. Now, how this adorable sound scares away predators, I don't know. If you're a bird, it's probably really unexpected and scary. So interesting, isn't it? Some people may be concerned that poking them harms them. Sometimes I even get hate comments about it. So before a bunch of pathetic animal rights activists attack me, I assure you that they are fine and healthy. In exchange for being poked for views on YouTube, they receive shelter, unlimited food and protection from predators, which is a lot. In the wild, only a small percentage of them survive, due to parasites, diseases, and predation from stuff like birds and rodents. Second of all, the stress doesn't really harm or injure them at all. In a world where you crush dozens of insects every time you drive your car to the supermarket, when you probably kill hundreds every time you mow your lawn, where we overpopulate the planet with our toxic species, and spray your food with pesticide that kills trillions of insects, while living in urban spaces that keep developing and encroaching on the habitat of endangered insects in the wild, these complaints are the equivalent of intellectual poverty. Get a life, stop your histrionic performative complaining, which is merely a tool to subconsciously validate yourself and your quite worthless opinion, and touch grass, you freak. Clearly you know nothing. Now, for those of you who are here to appreciate insects and enjoy their life cycles on YouTube and actually have a basic understanding of animals and biology in general and like to see their development, including their interesting defense mechanisms, then please keep watching the video. You are the kind of viewers I actually want. Sorry about my little rant here, but it's important to roast people that deserve to get roasted. Before that, just appreciate their unusual shape and their beauty. I've raised a lot of silk moths on this channel, but these caterpillars are weird compared to the ones I raised previously. Let's check back on them once again about a week later. Yay! One thing I always found remarkable when it comes to caterpillars of the genus Rhodinia is how their early stages grow really fast. But for some reason the final instar always takes ages to grow. It's pretty curious, but I guess it's normal for these species. Huh. Let's hope that they're gonna spin some cocoons soon. I'm ready for it. Alright people, so for a second I've taken most of them out of their cages. But just look at this, alright? We see many caterpillars here in the vegetation. Here another one. Just everywhere I look, every time I turn a leaf, there is more and more caterpillars. Am I going to count all of them yet? No, because I do not feel like disturbing them. Some of them are in the process of shedding their skins, which is a terrible moment to disturb them. I'm also not somebody obsessed with numbers. I actually don't count how many individuals I have. I know that's weird because people want to know. It's generally good to have an idea of how many insects you're dealing with. But for some reason I'm never bothered with that. So I guess my mind works in mysterious ways. But there you go, just here's another caterpillar. They are doing very well. And if I had to estimate, I think there's like 10, 12 caterpillars in here. Which is good, because I actually did not have that many eggs. So that's a good survival rate. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how they are doing. So the caterpillars are well hidden, but it doesn't mean that they're not there. There you go. Lots of little caterpillars we see. we dig a little bit? Just have to dig a little bit. Oh wow. Well, there you go. Getting a little bit bigger now every day, aren't we? Let's hear you squeak. Oh, you don't want to? Well, you don't have to. Still pretty good progress for these ones. Rhodinia caterpillars are wonderful, but curiously their final larval stage lasts for ages. Sometimes the final instar takes over a month to finally start spinning cocoons. In my opinion, that is unusual. If your caterpillars are in a final instar and you think you've almost made it, think again. They will continue to eat for 4 to 6 weeks time before cocooning. I wonder if their longer larval development is the reason they developed the squeaking mechanism. Who knows? The final instar lasts ages. I don't have the budget to research stuff like this scientifically, unfortunately. So let's hope this channel grows bigger, so maybe one day we can. The good news is they love cherry. I was feeding them European bird cherry or Prunus pallus and their development was quite normal. At this point it was just a massive waiting game. Several weeks of slow but steady growth later, I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. Yeah, you get the point. I waited until they spun cocoons for me. Alright people, it's harvesting time. The cocoons of Rhodinia verecunda are very interesting. Can you see them? They are spun in this very interesting way against the plant. They can be yellowish, from brown to green in color. There you go. So I guess I'm just going to pick this off. Cocoon number 1, it's official, we're gonna have moths, people. Cocoon number 2. It's very interesting how this is spun against the leaf, don't you guys think? Looks different than from most Saturniid cocoons, eh? They also have a hole in the bottom. I think it's funny. Let's take that one off. Here another cocoon. Here another cocoon. Let's see. Oh yes, this one is bright yellowish. Very beautiful. I think this one is still very fresh. Let's take that one off as well. Yeah. Hello everyone! I hope you are enjoying the show, man, because I spend a lot of time making the show. So, most of our caterpillars have finally spun cocoons. And I think that now, for me, it's time to have a look at them and see if we were successful or not. Spoiler alert, I'm the sexy moth king, so of course I'm going to be successful. Duh. That was a kind of a flamboyant gesture, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, let's have a closer look, because these cocoons are special. One special property about the cocoons of Rhodinia verecunda is the color. Look at it. The silk is fluorescent yellow/green, however you would like to define it. However, the color varies a bit per cocoon. As you can see, some are darker green in color. As the cocoons get drier, they also tend to get a little bit darker, so it means that maybe we should moisturize them a little bit more. But there you go. So let's see how many cocoons that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I cut some of them open. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. The cocoons remind me of shark eggs for some reason. Is there any marine biologist watching? Do you see the resemblance with shark eggs, or am I crazy? Anyways, what's funny is the cocoons are usually suspended like this in the plant. They are attached with a string of silk, and on top there is the opening. So what's funny is I did not open these cocoons. These cocoons have a natural opening, as you can see. And the caterpillars sometimes use silk to close this opening, but it's funny because most cocoons of silk moths that you see are usually closed. But this is one of the few cocoons that literally just have an opening on the top, and here this one is kind of closed, see? But the moth, they just squeezes through this when they emerge. So if you think about it, their pupa are pretty exposed to the environment. Now, like I said, they do close this gap with silk most of the time, but still, it's a pretty unique mechanism if you ask me. That's beautiful. Now, there's one special reason why I really enjoy breeding Rhodinia. I will tell you this special reason later, but first I will show you the pupa. I opened one of the pupa for entertainment, one of the cocoons for entertainment purposes, just so we can have a close look at the pupa, for those of you who appreciate pupal morphology. This is what the Rhodinia pupa looks like, as you can see. It's a bit waxy, it's almost like it has a tiny white powder here on it between the segments. It's compact, it's a bit oval and flattened near the top. So this is going to be a beautiful result. Wow. Now, one thing that I find very interesting and special about Rhodinia species, and why I enjoy breeding them, is the fact that the moths hatch very late in autumn. What? In autumn? Yes, in autumn. Now let me ask you people, most of you who live in temperate climates, most of you know the struggle with autumn, right? For a moth breeder like me, autumn is a terrible season. Because during autumn the leaves start falling from the trees, you don't have any food for your caterpillars, but also a lot of species who come from temperate countries. Think about the giant peacock moth, the robin moth, the Luna moth, the Io moth, stuff like that, you know, the regal moth. All the cool species from temperate countries stop coming out of their pupa and start hibernating instead. So autumn for a moth breeder like me is a boring time In this time of the year, I usually don't have much moths to film for YouTube at all. And that's kind of sad, it's kind of depressing, you know. This season, it's almost autumn right now, it's late September. And in late October the leaves will be completely orange. So right now there's like a dip. I don't have many moths right now, and that sucks because I like having moths, you know. A time of the year in which I don't have many moths is a time of the year that I am not happy. But this is where Rhodinia comes in, because this is an autumn species. They fly very late in the year. I'm not exactly sure what time of the year these fly in the wild. I thought it is really around November. So yes, it is pretty late in the year. And in the country where it flies actually, the countries where it flies, temperatures are pretty cold during that time. So I think during the night it can almost be around freezing temperatures. So the Rhodinia moths, they fly during the day to escape the cold autumn nights. Of course they come from subtropical climates, so actual frost is really rare there. And what they call autumn is still somewhat warm during the day, but still. And you can see the same with other species. For example, there's a species in Japan called Rhodinia verecunda, also found in other countries, I think parts of Russia maybe. That species also flies in autumn. In fact, most Rhodinia species I raised always eclose in autumn and not in summer. So if you are a breeder like me who is really bored and annoyed with the autumn season, try raising some Rhodinia, because it will guarantee that you have some cool moths very late in the year when your other moths stop coming out in captivity. That's cool, isn't it? So now we will essentially wait for the moths to come out. Such colorful cocoons, eh? Really special if you ask me. Special stuff, dude. Right now it is summer, my favorite season. But that is too early for the Rhodinia moths. They tend to come out of their cocoons near autumn instead. Around November and December in fact. Therefore we have to wait. Yeah people, a lot of waiting is involved in this hobby and making these videos costs a lot of time. But the good news is that the waiting mainly sucks for me, the person breeding the insects. For you it's not so bad. Just a few minutes of transitions in my video are months of waiting for me in real life. So we had to wait for autumn to finally arrive. Oh hi! It is currently autumn in the Netherlands. Look at all the leaves that are falling. It's crazy, huh? I was just out here enjoying the autumn colors. Now people, I'll be honest. Autumn is a great season if you like the color orange. But it's a terrible season if you breed tropical insects, especially that are herbivores. A lot of the vegetation here is what I used to feed my caterpillars and now it's gone. So in autumn I usually start taking a break from my hobby, because it's much more inconvenient to breed moths in winter. You have more losses and way less options for host plants, it's terrible. But at the end of every year in autumn there is one highlight of the season. And that is my living autumn leaves, the Rhodinia. Because they are one of the few moths that like to come out during this time of the year. Let's go back to my garden. Alright people, so the moment I am filming this, it is clearly autumn. Just look at all the autumn leaves. There's no shortage of them in my garden now, is there? Now, let me tell you something about autumn. Some people love it, some people hate it. As an insect breeder, I hate it. I'm really passionate about insects, and autumn is the season that they really start disappearing from the landscape. It's pretty hard to spot a cool bug. But if you are a breeder of insects like me, even of tropical insects, it's bad. First of all, the plants start losing their leaves. And my caterpillars are herbivores. In a lot of cases, the caterpillars I raise are even specialized in eating certain types of leaves. For example, only oak tree, only birch tree, only sweet gum. If you've seen many of my videos, you'll notice that sweet gum is something I use for many species. And in winter I just lose the opportunity to breed all of them. And that's why autumn is a bit depressing for me, because for my hobby it's a bad season. I lose my plants and I lose my opportunity to breed a lot of my favorite species. That's why in winter I always try to travel the world a little bit, just to skip time, wait for spring to arrive. I don't like winter breeding at all. But there is some good news in autumn, and that's the Rhodinia, because they are an autumn species, more or less. And that's pretty nice. As temperatures start to go down, you can expect to see them coming out of the cocoons. They're usually one of the last species that I have in captivity. Let me show you. Ah, the sun. In autumn is getting cold, but at least we still have a nice little autumn sun. In winter we can't even have much sun anymore. Oh, I don't like these seasons, people. Guys, do you like autumn? Let me know in the comments. Personally, I just dislike it, man. It's so gloomy to see all the plants go and hibernate. Ah, this is what it's about. Let's grab this stuff. As you can see, I literally had them outdoors in my garden. If you haven't noticed. What I'm about to say may sound a little bit counterintuitive. Because on YouTube I'm always emphasizing, if you want your moths to come out faster, you have to put the pupa warm. Put them warm and humid and you will have your insects faster. For Rhodinia it's the opposite. I put them cold, outdoors in my garden. As you can see, it's quite chilly right now. I don't know if you can see it, but my breathing is even causing a little bit of condensation in the air. Oops, I have the hiccups. It was probably the energy drink. Okay, see it? It's pretty cold right now. And what's funny about the Rhodinia is, I said it before, but they are a species that in Taiwan and China, for example, start coming out when it's autumn. Now, please keep in mind the parts of China and Taiwan where these moths live are subtropical, yeah? Subtropical. So that means the temperatures don't become as low as they do in my country, the Netherlands. But it does become cold. Freezing, however, is very rare, so make sure to keep them frost-free but cold. The good news about autumn is this is when temperatures slowly start to decline. And the moths usually tend to come out before the really cold temperatures hit. For me at least. Getting them out of the cage is a bit of a challenge, however. Yeah, give me a moment to do this. Here, easily stressed, so we must be gentle. We must be gentle. Ah! Oh! It dropped itself. Give me a second. Come on. Ah! Here's the first one of them. Wow! Let me show you a close-up. This is beautiful. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Wow! Here it is. The male and female of our squeaking silk moths. Rhodinia verecunda. These moths can be raised on so many plants in captivity. You can use cherry, you can use walnut. Pretty sure that they will like sweet gum. They like a lot of plants. Willow, no problem. Even hawthorn. And what's funny is the caterpillars, they got a lot of exposure on my YouTube channel. The squeaking caterpillars always get a lot of views. And it makes sense, because people love them, right? They're squeaking caterpillars, that's awesome, isn't it? But the moths themselves, they don't get so much attention as the caterpillars, and that's a shame. Because as you can see, they're absolutely beautiful, they are marvelous. They're out of this world. Actually, they're not out of this world. We should stop calling beautiful things alien and out of this world. It is our world that gives them this beauty. I stand corrected. Now, what's the difference between the male and the female here? The biggest difference is the wing shape. I don't know if you can see it. But the male has and entomologists call this falcate wings, right? That means sharp edges, curved edges, and a smaller wing surface area. Whereas the female has quite rounded wingtips. Can you see it? They're very round. They're curved. Female, basically, girls have curves, alright? Remember it like that. Girls have curves. I mean, most humans, the same is true. Or not. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Anyway, you can see that on top the male here has a bit of a different wing shape somehow, somewhat. And he has also larger antennae. See that he has these big antennae, big plumed antennae. The female has kind of small antennae. They are kind of like a rope, thin and thread-like antennae. Whereas the male has large antennae. I'm a male with a large antenna too. Okay, maybe I should edit that out. The underside is pretty cool too. Now, it's easy to imagine that these insects like to come out in autumn because, well, their camouflage is basically perfectly an autumn leaf. Is it not? Oops. Wow. Really gorgeous. Can you see it? Incredibly beautiful. I'm really proud. This is a proud moment. Let's have some fun with their camouflage, people. Let me just get some autumn leaves from here. Like this. Just gather some leaves. La la la. This should be fun. There you go. Put it on the floor. Here, let's pretend this is a forest, because, yeah, these species can be found in forest. So here, nice arrangement of leaves. There you go. And now suddenly their camouflage makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? For an autumn species, that is. It makes sense why a species that flies in autumn would look like an autumn leaf. Now, of course, the human mind is excellent when it comes to recognizing patterns and objects. But a bird may be fooled by this. I mean, if I wasn't breeding these moths, I'm not sure if I would recognize them in the wild. And here, of course, we have the female. And their camouflage is honestly excellent. Look at that. 2 beautiful little autumn leaves. This is another testament to the beauty and the marvel of nature. And I don't mean the kind of, when I say the marvel, I don't mean the marvel that makes shitty movies in order to impress normies. I mean marveling at the beauty of our beautiful planet and the beautiful insects that live in them. It makes me so sad and disappointed that insects are so unpopular. People think they are gross and disgusting. Well, there's so much to learn and discover. There's so much beauty, so much complexity. It's just so satisfying to see how their camouflage really works and how perfectly these organisms are adapted to their environment for millions of years, and they just blend in. It just works, as Todd Howard would say. It just works. This camouflage is excellent. And it's really beautiful. I am impressed. Oh, I love this species. I really do. This is a happy moment, guys. This is a very happy moment for YouTuber Bart Coppens. There's nothing in my life that makes me as happy as moths. I know that makes me crazy. I'm insane. But you know what? At least I'm not a sociopath who is after power or money. I'm after this. And moments like these to share with my viewers. Wow. What a beautiful composition this is. Oh wow. It's excellent, really. Incredible. I love it. So a few moths are coming out, but we still have a whole lot of cocoons. So we can expect to see many more moths soon, I hope. But let me tell you about my trick for getting these out of the pupa fast. So here I have a thermometer with the ambient temperature. Currently it's 9 degrees Celsius outdoors. Now I'm holding it, so expect to see the temperature go up because my hand is warm. But it's about 8 to 9 degrees Celsius outdoors. This is very cold, actually. I don't keep many of my other insects this cold. But these silk moths, and I said it before, but I found out that their eclosure from the pupa is triggered by decreasing and lower temperatures. So what happens if you keep them indoor on room temperature? I did it as well, and the good news is if you don't have any way to store them cold, they will still hatch on room temperature. But I noticed if I put my pupa cold outdoors, the moths will come out in November. But if I keep them indoors, they will come out around February. much later. So that's counterintuitive because insects usually come out later if you put them cold, but these come out faster if you put them cold. And that's really because that's what they like. In their native habitat there's a small time frame when the hot temperatures start to go down and it goes from summer to autumn. Winter is a bad time for them to come out, so they really want to use that short period of time in autumn when temperatures are low, but not unbearably low. Oh, it's starting to rain. Oh my god, my camera. Here is an intermission with some notes on autumn and winter in Taiwan. Here is a chart showing the yearly temperatures in Taipei. Now please keep in mind, Taipei does not represent the whole country of Taiwan. In reality it's more complex. For example, in the south, temperatures are milder than in the north. And altitude also matters. The mountains are colder than the lowlands. So now please keep in mind, Taipei does not represent the whole country of Taiwan, but let's not make it overly complicated right now. As you can see, the autumn in Taiwan is still warm and dry, although temperatures start declining. And then there is a cold winter, and during winter temperatures become cold, but also very mild. Freezing is even very rare, unless you live in the mountains or highlands where it's more common, where temperatures are generally colder due to the high altitude. Reportedly, the flight time of this moth is around November and December in Taiwan, which correlates with autumn. A few days later, more moths appeared as well. Alright folks, the lighting is bad because it's winter right now. But we have another male fresh out of the cage. Let me fix the lighting. Wow. So beautiful. So powerful. Wow. So beautiful. So powerful. Just look at that. It's extremely beautiful. Look at all those colors. Wow. To me, there is nothing more magical and nothing more beautiful than the combinations of colors and patterns that we find in nature. Humans try to mimic it with art, with movies, with music, with paintings, with drawings. But for me, the real treasure is here in my hands. Just look at it, the combination of bright yellow, rusty brown and orange. Every inch of this insect is magnificent. It is magnificent. And what's crazy is that we people, we humans, are so out of touch when it comes to nature. We live so far removed from the natural world. It breaks my heart to think that most people think animals like these are disgusting or deserve to be killed. As somebody who likes moths, that's what I have to deal with every day. That kind of commentary, people freaking out, people saying they are disgusting. How can they not see the magnificence? How blind, how domesticated are you to not recognize the beauty we have in front of us every day and that we neglect, that we ignore, that we actively try to destroy? It is no secret that humans, sometimes it seems that we are actively trying to destroy nature at every opportunity that we get. Not realizing we are dependent on it, you know. It isn't our origin, it's our livelihood. When all the oceans are polluted and when all the forests are destroyed, I ask you, what will there be left for us, really? What are we going to eat? Who is going to pollinate our crops? Who's going to produce the oxygen? Where are we going to get our resources? Wood, vegetables, anything. It comes from nature. And we just, I don't know, makes me sad to think about people are blind to what's really going on. And something like a moth, a big moth, it freaks people out, it puzzles them. It's like a novelty, a curiosity now. It's like when you show people stuff like this, they freak out sometimes, like they've never seen an insect this big before. They'll ask all kinds of questions. What function do they have? Now, I love educating people about the natural world, but I'm also sad that I have to educate people about it in the first place. Just look at this. To me, there's nothing in the world that makes me more happy than studying insects, really. They have so many secrets to tell us. Just look at that. It's gorgeous. Whoa. And it's camera shy. Okay, let's catch it. One thing that I really like about insects, and especially moths, is how they are a visual representation of their environment. If you've worked with butterflies and moths and seen a lot of them, then they kind of become like a book that you can read. Its colors, for example. What do the colors of a moth mean? Well, for example, if they have flashy and bright colors like red, for example, or a lot of black and yellow contrast, that usually means, for example, that they are toxic and that they are trying to warn predators, don't eat me, I am poisonous. And that means there's probably a lot of pressure on that species, which means there's most likely a lot of predators that would like to eat them, for example. Or how much hairs that they have on their body. If a moth is very hairy, for example, it could mean that they fly in a cold environment at a cold time of the year. They need a lot of body hair to stay warm. In this case, these moths fly in autumn, so they kind of have the camouflage of an autumn leaf. If a moth is green, it most likely means that they camouflage on foliage or leaves, which probably means it lives in an area where there's a lot of vegetation. Stuff like that. The color black, it absorbs heat. Black moths are usually ones that fly, for example, during the day, so they are black to absorb more warmth if they fly during the day, or very early in the morning when it's still cold, to absorb some extra warmth from the early morning rays of the sun. It's things like that. Of course, this is a huge generalization, and not all the examples that I just mentioned are true, but to me, when I see a moth or an insect, you can just kind of read it like a book. You can make deductions, like what is its environment like? What are the things it has to deal with in its life? The caterpillars of this insect squeak, for example, which is a defense mechanism, and the squeaking probably means that they have to deal with a lot of predators, right? Otherwise they wouldn't evolve such a mechanism. So we can tell, just by the appearance and the behavior, these insects have a lot of enemies, that their environment kind of reflects the colors that they have in order to camouflage themselves, the yellows, the autumn colors. It's pretty cool, all things considered. Don't you think? Insect is like a book. Look at its hairy body and legs. It shows that they fly in somewhat lower temperatures, really, and have to stay warm for activity and mating. Insects are like books, and on this channel we read them together. Wow. Pairing the moths is relatively easy if they are not closely related, although males seem to be reluctant to pair with their sisters sometimes. I noticed they are more eager to pair with unrelated individuals. But even then, brothers and sisters will also still pair many times. This male and this female right here in fact are pairing, which means the females should lay many fertile eggs soon. Alright folks, while mating this species does not appear to be incredibly difficult. However, they do seem to mate between dawn and during sunrise or sundown in the twilight most of the time. How exciting! A good indicator of a successful pairing is when the males are attached to the females by the tips of their abdomens like this. This species seems to mate mainly in twilight. Most of my pairings happened early in the morning or early in the evening in captivity. Interesting! If you want to successfully pair the moths like this, you need to have an appropriate enclosure for them, otherwise they won't pair. If you want them to make babies for you and have a next generation of beautiful moths, I use these pop-up cages, and they are made of netting, and that allows airflow and ventilation. That's really important because female moths, they use pheromone to attract the males who will then pair with them. And the airflow allows the pheromones to distribute themselves. If you ventilate it a little bit, the male can smell the source of the pheromones and mate with her. This is actually not the first pair of moths that we have, it's the second pair. Let me turn the camera. Funny thing about our first pair of moths is that they are already dead. Let me zoom out. So here I have the first female actually. This is the first female that we ever had. And this female is already dead, as we can see. Why did she die? Why is she dead? Well, if you are a fan of this channel and see many of my videos, you will already know that silk moths, Saturniid moths, they only live for a very short time, right? And it's also true for Rhodinia, but Rhodinia make it even more extreme. They usually live for a little bit less than a week. They seem to have a short lifespan most of the time, at least my animals do. So this one is already past. The first male is also already dead. I don't have him anymore. But yeah, that's how it goes. The life cycle of these insects is just so short. But the good news is on the floor here, she left a gift. And the gift is in the form of eggs. Can you see it? Let me... just the camera. Damn, it's blurry. I hate it when it's blurry. So what you can do is you can take a petri dish. Use your finger. You can just grab the eggs. They are very strong. Just take the eggs like this with your hand. Pull them off. Put them in a petri dish, okay? Eggs have a very thick shell. So you can just scrape them off. Take them. Put them in a container. It's very easy. Alright people, here's the first female who is now dead. She paired too. I'm not going to show all the pairings, I'm sorry. I'm not going to show all the pairings, but I did show you one. Anyway, here's some of the eggs that our beautiful prince has left us. I see there's some other older eggs mixed in there too, from other moths that were in the same cage. They're dried out. But most of these are eggs fertile of the Rhodinia verecunda. Fertile because they paired, as I showed you, 100% evidence they paired. So my babies are fertile. But I'm not going to be able to show you the babies because these eggs must hibernate before they hatch. So it would take a year for me to incubate the babies. They have to be kept cold for I think 4 to 6 months and then warmed up, and then the babies will come out. Anyway, we did a good job. We did a good job. You did a good job as well. Rest in peace. Okay, wow, so the life cycle is pretty much completed already at this point. I could end the video here if I wanted to be honest. But we did the effort to raise so many cocoons, so of course I want to show you more of the moths that we raised too. One thing I really regret about these moths coming out in autumn is that autumn is such a bad time for filming. Because I have to do videos indoors, because the sun goes down at 5 o'clock and outdoor lighting is really bad in autumn and winter. It's dark and gloomy in my country. Most of my videos I make them in summer, then I have beautiful daylight to bring out the best colors of my insects. Filming them in a room like this, everything is grey and yellow due to the artificial light. It doesn't look great. But it's the only thing we can do. Until someday I'm rich and famous and have my own moth studio. Anybody want to invest in a studio for my channel? Would be cool. Would improve the quality a lot. Anyway, I did notice that 2 of the moths have come out. And we're going to have a close look at them. Because, well, once again we have 2 new individuals. Yeah, let's put you guys back in your prison, yeah. Okay, this is not good footage, oops. Anyway, you get the point. We put them back into their enclosure. And we close the zipper, and this is going to look really awkward. Oh, what the... This is so awkward. No, 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 don't fly away. Oh, guys, just cooperate a little. Good news everyone! Good news! Are you a fan of my online web series MothCycles? Then I have good news, because I'm going to introduce a brand new feature to it. It's called the wingspan board. Each of the squares on this cutting board represent 1 centimeter. And I figured that a lot of people who are watching my videos, it's hard for them to figure out the scale that the insects are that you're watching on YouTube, you know. It's hard to imagine the scale or the size of an insect based off a video footage. So now we have an accurate way to measure them. And in each episode of MothCycles that we raise a moth, from now on I will add a segment where we check out its wingspans. That's cool, so let's get started. Incredible, ladies and gentlemen, incredible. Looks like once again we have 2 new males today. Females are already dead, so these are going to be single for a while. But they are on the wingspan board. So we can more or less estimate their wingspan. Now please keep in mind this is not the official way to measure wingspan, because officially they should be dead taxidermied specimens in a collection with taxidermied in the official position, which is their wings in a 45-degree angle to the body, and the official wingspan measured from wingtip to wingtip in this position. Despite that, this is YouTube, it's not scientific, it's entertainment. But I do think that this board right here gives you some perspective on their size and an accurate way to estimate their size accurately. Each of the squares on this board represent 1 centimeter. It's because centimeters are superior to using inches and feet or whatever weird system you guys use. Anyway, they have beautiful autumn colors, as you can see. Really incredible. And yeah, even if I say so myself, it looks like the Bart Coppens channel has done it again. Another life cycle of an incredible species. And you know what? I will keep going. I'm very young. I'm 28 years old at the moment I'm filming this. I have like 50 years of breeding left in my future. And I'm going to devote my time and my energy to breeding the world's most beautiful insects. And perhaps showing them to you on YouTube. As long as YouTube exists, because I cannot promise that I'm going to do a lifetime of YouTube. You never know. Maybe it stops becoming popular like MySpace and stuff, and Amazon Messenger. Now we have Facebook and WhatsApp. Maybe stuff like that will also fade into obscurity like YouTube. But I will promise you this, no matter how old I am, whether it's 30, 40, 50 or 100 years old, I'm going to be out there and I'm going to be breeding moths and I'm going to show the world their amazing magnificence. I'm also very happy that you guys are here to watch the show with me. It makes me really happy to have an audience, to have people to talk to, people that understand me, that want to share their passion for nature and insects with me. Let's see if this male will fly away. This is a very skittish species. They don't like being touched at all in the slightest. Just look at that. Wow. This species is absolutely incredible, people. Just look at how marvelous they are. Absolutely fantastic. I love it. This is art. If you are one of the people who is watching this channel and actually appreciates seeing the life cycles of obscure insects, I applaud you. It's actually pretty difficult to be an insect YouTuber. Moths are not popular at all, and marketing them on YouTube is very difficult. Looks like one of them just flew away. That's fine. That's what they do all the time. The species, oh, it just came back. And yep. Anyway, what I wanted to say is marketing insects on social media, especially moths, is very difficult. Perhaps they are one of the more unpopular animals. Of course they are beautiful and that helps, that people want to watch their beauty online, but not many people are interested in their biology like I am. I know there's like YouTube channels with tarantulas and ants that have millions of subscribers, but me with my pathetic 25,000 subscribers is already literally the biggest moth channel on YouTube, and I think that is just insane. That shows how unpopular they are. And building a business or a YouTube channel that shows the biology of moths is really an uphill battle. It's a lot of grinding and filming. I feel like Steve Irwin, except with a maybe perhaps even more unpopular animal than crocodiles. I mean, crocodiles are badass. Moths, well, they're pretty, but like, who cares about moths, you know? I do, obviously. But to build a successful YouTube business with them is extremely difficult. Anyway. Right, so if we can get a female, that would be cool. Otherwise not. My hair is a little bit wet because I just had a shower, so I'm wearing this hoodie to disguise how terrible my wet hair looks like a wet dog. Anyway, just checked out the cage, had some cool updates for ya. I thought, why not share it with my favorite people who like my insect videos? Cause we had some new moths, let's check them out. The problem with every time that I breed such a beautiful species for my web series MothCycles, every time I do that, we slowly start to run out of species to film for MothCycles. Good thing that there's over 250,000 described species of Lepidopterans, of which 200,000 are moths. So maybe after all we're not going to run out of content. Starting to get to a point though where we've raised all the iconic Saturniidae on my channel. I'd still really like to do the robin moth though. That's a really difficult one in my opinion. We shall see. Just admire these for right now. Incredible. I love them. Yay! The good news is, as always, they are very pretty, very beautiful. The bad news is this week we have 3 males. And this week I actually don't have any females, all the previous ones have passed away. Now we didn't have pairings already, so that's fine, we already got those juicy eggs that we wanted. However, would have been slightly cooler though if you could pair more of them, because more is merrier, right? Wow, that one dropped to the ground. The more the merrier, they say. Well, I'm not that much of a capitalist, alright? The more the merrier. Sometimes enough is enough and you don't need more. Sometimes you need to appreciate what we have in life without thinking about more. But when it comes to moths, it's applicable because you can never have enough moths. Yeah, you guys are my beautiful little autumn leaves. So pretty. Now, some of them have a little damage because I was actually gone for a few days. I had a trip to London. So some of these moths are now like 1 or 2 days old. But not that damaged, so still good enough to show them off in this video. Excellent though. Just look at how pretty they are. This is why you are subscribed to my channel, people, so you can look at stuff like this. Oh yeah. I hope you are enjoying the show. I worked hard on it. So nice, eh? Wow. We already completed the life cycle, but let's keep going and check back a few days later still, because I still want to show you more moths and more pairings. Checking the cage again. La 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 la. Yeah, should I get into opera? Of course. I'm so multi-talented. I'm an entomologist, well, a wannabe entomologist on YouTube, popular YouTuber, popular blogger, insect breeder. Not to mention I'm incredibly intelligent and sexy. Oh, Bart Coppens, I love you. Ah, it's no biggie, I love myself as well. Anyway, ta-da! Look what we have. We have a beautiful little female here. Her wings seem to have weird amounts of scales missing on some places. I wonder if she had trouble closing from the cocoon, but that doesn't matter. Her abdomen is thick and swollen, and I wanna bet that she will pair, maybe with some of the single males that I have. Great, that's all for now. And last night I left my moths in this room. Guess what happened again? Another mating! Yay! After one night, this male and this female are clearly making some love. That's great, isn't it? Now that is fantastic, huh? Yay! I don't know if you guys could see it, but I showed you the pairing we had this morning, right? So this is the second female that has already paired. That means she's going to lay a lot of fertile eggs for me, and next year I will have even more babies of this cool species. Just look at them, they're so beautiful. Now we've already had a lot of moths out, but I never have more than 4 than 5 out at the same time. Every time a few new moths come out, the old ones seem to have died already. They do have a short lifespan. I guess that's quite normal for Saturniidae though. These moths don't live very long in general. Look at my amazing autumn leaves. Wow, I'm so happy. So beautiful. Guys, I'm going to tell you there are not many things in my life that can make me happier than moths. I don't know, they just make me emotional and happy. I really hope that someday my channel will be so big that I'll have a lot of influence and money, and I will use that influence and money for the conservation and protection of this species. That's my dream. Like, I wish I could buy my own forest and build a protected habitat for threatened and endangered species there. I think it's going to happen though if I keep growing this channel. Moths are not very popular online, so it's a very slow and steady progress. It's very hard to become popular with moths, you know. Not many people care about these insects. But I think I have it in me if I keep making a lot of videos. And this channel is going to have a good impact on their conservation, I hope. And at least educate people about their beauty. More and more moths kept coming out. I'm not going to show you all of them, just the most important parts of it. Alright, again, many days later, let's check back on the progress. And another new male has just come out. And to be honest people, the life cycle is almost over, so I could stop filming the moths now. We already had a pairing and we already had eggs. But I feel like we did so much effort raising all the caterpillars. I want to make sure to document all of the moths that come out. I do wonder why some of them have interesting wide scales on some parts of their wings. Almost makes them look like they rubbed some of them off. Anyway, another fresh moth came out today. Beautiful! Alright people, it's been a while since we had the original matings. Let's see how the moths are doing. They're old at this point, okay, so expect to see a few moths that are quite damaged. Let's see. A lot of people always ask me, Bart, what do you do with your moths after they die? Can I buy them from you? Blah blah blah. This is why the answer is no. You can't buy them from me when they die. Because a lot of species, when they age and grow old, they look like this, right? This is what is left of my moths right now, and they're not even dead. So the reality of the situation is when you breed Saturniidae in captivity, in a lot of cases they will rarely die in a good condition. Like this one, for example. This one is almost dead already. You can see the way it shredded its hind wings. That's because when they flap their wings, they do make a lot of friction with the cage, their enclosure. But in the wild it happens as well. Their wings are simply not really built for sustainability. So, among this mess of tattered looking moths, here in the middle we have the female. There she is, this is the female. Now this female right here has laid a lot of eggs. I've been collecting all the eggs that all the females have been laying for me recently. What I do with these eggs? Well, for example, I trade them, I sell them online. Sometimes I give them to Patreons on my Patreon who are interested. I don't sell that much material though, that's what I should say. I breed a lot of moths, but I rarely publicly sell the eggs because I get a lot of anxiety when dealing with people or selling to them. I know that sounds stupid, but sometimes people are cruel to me. Anyway, enough whining. It's not about me being a victim or anything, just giving some background info. Whoa! Anyway, let's take these moths away, because I didn't want to show them actually. What I did wanted to show is that they have laid a lot of eggs here in this cage. You can see here a pile of eggs. Oop, let me hope that the camera agrees with me, because it's gonna look blurry. Hello, can you zoom in on that pile of eggs, people? Thank you, camera. That's better. Just take them with my hand. So this female will deposit eggs like this, several places in her cage. So I just take them with my hands. Alright people, this is it, this is official. These are the eggs of Rhodinia verecunda. And these eggs are going to hatch into the baby caterpillars, the same... Oops! Damn. Sorry for that. The same kind of baby caterpillars that we started this video with, what feels like ages ago. And with that, we are going to have another generation of moths. Now I like to place the eggs that I collected here in this little tube, so I can keep track of them. Let's break them apart. So for extra storage, they like to pile the eggs on top of each other, but that's not very convenient. I haven't really counted them, but I'm guessing this is about 100 eggs, I reckon. So that's actually kind of great. There you go. A test tube full of eggs. Alright, test tube full of eggs. There you go. Now, before these eggs can hatch, they need a special treatment. But I will tell you more about that later, alright? Just saying, this is successful. We did it. Let me tell you more. Alright people, let me give you an update of the situation. The situation is that many of the old moths are dead at this point. However, many new ones have also come out to replace the dead, I suppose. Let me show you them for a second. And the new ones have already paired as well. Now, I didn't film the pairings that we've had since recently because I don't film literally everything that happens. I've already showed you a pairing not once but 2 times, alright? So I feel like that should be alright. Let me show you. Alright, so this is 2 males and 1 female. They're already a bit old-ish. And these have also paired. These are new. I haven't filmed them yet. This is the first time of me showing them. I'm going through this a little bit faster pace now because essentially we did complete the whole life cycle more or less. And these are just the last cocoons hatching. So what else do you want? You know, what else is new? As for some of the old moths, see, these are the live ones. Let's put them back in the cage. Well, here's some of the old ones. As you can see, those are already kind of dead. Yep, this was left of the old moths, but they've left behind a lot of eggs. So I feel like slowly but surely this episode is coming to an end. Not yet, but slowly but surely. I do have some cocoons left, so I'm going to have more moths. But not that much, to be honest. I think I have like 5 cocoons left. And when 5 new moths have come out, after that I'm basically ending the episode pretty soon. Don't leave yet though, because I have something important to show you when we end the life cycle of this insect, okay? Video is not over. Don't leave it yet. Here's me collecting some new eggs, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, before Ladies and gentlemen, if you have seen more episodes of my web series called MothCycles, which is what you are watching right now, this is my web series in which we raise moths together. It's one of my most popular web series on my channel, to be honest. But if you've seen more episodes of them, you'll have noticed that I like to end the episodes with baby caterpillars. When we breed the moths, it's nice to show people proof, like look, here's the 2nd generation. We grew these babies, we show the whole life cycle, all the caterpillar stages, the moths, the pairings if I can. Sometimes pairings are hard to film, and then they lay the eggs. And then when the eggs hatch, I can show you like, here look, we raised these moths, here's the proof that the whole life cycle is completed. But today this is impossible, despite the fact that they laid a lot of eggs and they're still laying right now. Because there's something very important that you need to know about the genus Rhodinia, in particular Rhodinia verecunda, the Taiwanese squeaking silkmoth that you've seen today. And that is that their eggs hibernate. Their eggs hibernate. Now, the way species hibernate, it's different per family, per genus. Generally speaking, moths can overwinter in all life stages, but not every species can overwinter in every life stage. There's moths that overwinter as fully grown moths. There's moths that overwinter as cocoons. There's moths that overwinter as caterpillars, and some overwinter in the egg stage. Rhodinia verecunda only hibernates in the egg stage. Oh great, what's this noise? I hate it when I'm outdoors and there's stuff like airplanes. Let me wait a second, okay? I don't know, what the hell is this? Guys, please go, you're ruining my video. Thank you very much, idiots. Anyway, as I was about to say, Rhodinia verecunda have the funny habit of hatching late in the year, the equivalent of autumn in the subtropical regions where they fly. There is actually a cold winter where they live, but it's not as cold as in the temperate worlds, for example the Netherlands. I think Taiwan, subtropical China, other places where this insect flies. There is a cold winter, but most of the time it's above the freezing point, and when it freezes, it doesn't freeze very much or very long. So it's like a very mild winter. But this species does have a habit of laying eggs in autumn, then the eggs they hibernate, and the next spring, when it gets warmer again, when it becomes more tropical, that's when the eggs hatch, and the baby caterpillars start feeding on the leaves, etc., and a new life cycle begins. So what does that mean is that you have to hibernate the eggs of this species if you wanna hatch the babies, right? You have to put these eggs cold for several months. Several months. If you don't do this, there's not going to be any baby caterpillars. And this is important for you to understand, right? Because if you're gonna put these at room temperature, you're gonna wonder, hey, is something wrong with my eggs? Why are there no babies hatching? No, you forgot to put them cold. You have to overwinter these eggs. Now, if you're a fan of my channel, you've seen me overwinter eggs of several species before. It's not that weird. Several Saturnid species do it. One that I can name is Antherea yamamai, the Japanese oak silk moth, for example. The mulberry silkworm Bombyx mori, their eggs can hibernate under certain circumstances, sometimes even have to hibernate. There's a lot more examples in the hobby of eggs that have to hibernate. This is one of those. So how do you hibernate the eggs of Rhodinia? Why is there an empty monster can in my garden? I should stop using it as a trash bag. Anyway, how to hibernate the eggs of Rhodinia species, alright? It's actually quite simple and easy. First and foremost, you put them cold. Cold. Doesn't matter how. Put them cold. Preferably little bit above the freezing point, but they can handle some severe cold, trust me. The Netherlands is much colder than Taiwan, where these eggs came from, where the moths came from. Our winter is much colder than the winter in Taiwan, but I've been breeding this species for a long time. And the eggs always survive, like they even survive the cold winter in Europe, so they probably can survive much colder temperatures than they face actually in their native habitat. So they're actually quite resilient, but if you're worried about the cold, what you can do is you can place the tube of eggs here in an extra box, right? Put them in this. And if you want, put the box in another box, or put those boxes in another box. The more you isolate them, the more they will be protected against very harsh temperatures. You can even add a towel or vermiculite, whatever it is, as long as if there's a substrate, it will protect them better from low temperatures, so maybe that's a good idea. So I put the box outside, and I forget about it, like, that's it. Next spring I will check back on the babies. When the temperatures go up, I collect them, I bring them indoors, and then the caterpillars will hatch. Ooh, I'm getting a double chin, I should go on a diet. I'm not looking good lately. It's the stress, guys, it's the stress. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here, am I not? Anyway, This is how you hibernate eggs. Really, just put them cold and forget about them. They need several months of cold, otherwise they will not hatch. Don't forget, don't put them in your freezer, that's too extreme. But if you live in a temperate country, this will work. Another thing you can do is you can hibernate them in your refrigerator. And this works fine as long as you keep them above freezing temperatures. This is an easy solution for you if you want to breed them in a country where you don't have a longer or colder winter. Just refrigerate them for several months and warm them up again, tricking them into thinking winter has just passed. Then you will see babies. Alright people, the lighting here is bad because it's indoors. Let's see if we can fix that. Maybe a little bit of outdoor light will help. There you go. So, the breeding project is not completely over yet, but we've had all the life stages. I showed you the pairing, I showed you the males and females, I showed you pretty much everything I could show. Let's see how many cocoons we have left. Alright folks, so I discovered we have 2 cocoons left. Yeah, I cut one of them open to see how they're doing. These cocoons will probably still hatch, but I'm gonna make the decision to stop filming here. Why? Well, I think I showed you everything I wanted to show you. All the life stages, the pairing, everything. A life cycle is even completed. I apologize if you wanted to see these 2 moths very badly, but I don't think they would have made a big difference to my video, to be honest. And it could take several weeks for them to come out. And I don't think it's worth it to wait that long for literally 2 moths to come out. Not to mention that soon I'm going to the country of Brazil. I actually have some good news. After like 7 years of making YouTube videos, I got myself a very cool gig. I'm going to the Atlantic rainforest in Brazil, which is one of the most deforested rainforests in the world. And I'm going to help there with reforestation, that's like planting trees and stuff. But I'm also going to study butterflies and moths there, collect data on what species there are in the area, what species of silk moth, their host plant, their abundance, the diversity of species that I can record, basically everything that I can observe for almost 2 months. And these data and findings will contribute to the conservation of butterflies and moths. It's my dream, and I achieved it through my channel. That's the really special thing. So because of YouTube, I get to do real entomology now. That's awesome. There's going to be videos of it as well on my channel. And I'm leaving in about 3 weeks. When I'm filming this, I'm leaving in about 3 weeks. So that means that when it's uploaded, I'm probably even closer to leaving. The Atlantic rainforest is one of the most deforested rainforests in the world. Almost 88% of the original forest habitat has been lost and replaced by human-modified landscapes, including pastures, croplands and urban areas. Many rare insects and butterflies live there. But my channel is crowdfunding reforestation and conservation efforts. In collaboration with my fans who donate to my channel and REGUA, or the Reserva Ecológica de Guacupu in Brazil, I'm going to help plant trees in areas where the forest has been cut down in order to reforest it. I'm also going to study butterflies and moths in the Atlantic rainforest. The data I will collect on local species will help their species conservation and protection. This channel and the funds I raise online help the conservation of insects, and help me educate the world about the animals that very few people care about. Well, they are super important for this ecosystem. Okay, let's return. I'm nervous, but it also means that I want to finish this video right now, before I leave, and not when I come back to my country in like 2 months time. Sorry guys. So that's why I don't want to hatch these 2 cocoons. I mean, it's 2 cocoons, it's 2 more extra moths, but I don't think they would have made that much of a difference really. I mean, this is already a long video, I would just drag it out more by waiting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I show you the life cycle, guys. If you ever manage to get eggs of this species, then you're lucky. They're not super rare in the hobby, but they're definitely not available every year. Sometimes it can take a few years before somebody offers them on the market. So if you see them for sale, snatch them up. They're really a wonderful species, everybody should breed. Beautiful moths with autumn colors and squeaking caterpillars. So that's the entomologist's dream, isn't it? So this was the breeding part of my video. I'm gonna take these 2 cocoons and hatch them for myself. Oh, you'll never get to see what they look like. I'm gonna hatch them for me myself. And I hope you enjoyed watching this life cycle. I worked very hard on it. So yeah. Let's move on to the discussion part of the video. Because the video is not over yet. Not yet. So yeah, we usually have a species rundown, really, where I just tell you about the biology of the species, because for me the point of breeding insects is to observe them and document them. Alright, I don't breed them for money, I'm not a commercial breeder, I breed them for knowledge, and this knowledge will help the insects as well. It will help people care about the insects, but it's also like free information, which can be difficult to get for people who are curious about these creatures. So it's a win-win situation. And let me give you Thank you for watching the life cycle of the Taiwanese Squeaking Silkmoth that I have filmed. That means a lot to me since I work hard on these videos. And today I will educate you about this awesome insect, Rhodinia verecunda. You've already seen them develop from eggs to moths, but today we're going to go deeper into the details of their ecology. Some of this presentation uses copyrighted images, which I am allowed to use under the Fair Use law, considering it is a transformative work. I do not monetize my videos and I do not profit from them directly. In fact, I don't really make shit from this channel, so I'm not breaking the law. Okay, let's move on. Rhodinia verecunda is presumably a species that is endemic to the island of Taiwan. Taiwan is situated more or less south of the coast of mainland China. Taiwan, however, is an independent country. A fantastic country, in fact, that I would love to visit, since it has wonderful nature. Anyway, this species is presumably only found in Taiwan and nowhere else. Sources mention it is found in mainland China too, but I'm very reluctant to agree with that. Given the complicated and often politicized history of Taiwan and the fact it was once a part of China, it means some authors could possibly cite Taiwan as China, while they obviously still mean the island and country of Taiwan. Therefore, unless somebody confronts me with compelling evidence to the contrary, I'm going to treat Rhodinia verecunda as an endemic species to Taiwan, which I think it is. The host plant of these moths are quite numerous. Cited are Chinese hackberry or Celtis sinensis, Cinnamomum camphora or camphor tree, Crategus monogyna or common hawthorn, Juglans regia or walnut, Liquidambar formosana or Chinese sweet gum, Liquidambar styraciflua or sweet gum, Prunus campulata or Taiwan cherry, or prunus in general, including wild Himalayan cherry, but also many other kinds of cherry, and also many types of quercus or oak tree, salix or willow, and even more plants such as Suida macrophylla or giant dogwood. When harassed, the caterpillars can squeak loudly to repel predators, something I've demonstrated many times in this video. In winter, the eggs of this species hibernate. They spend their time dormant, or near the host plant, only to hatch in spring. In spring, the caterpillars hatch from their eggs and begin feeding on the vegetation, only to complete their development in summer. The moths fly in autumn, reproduce and then leave behind the hibernating eggs. Like any Saturniidae, they cannot feed and have a limited lifespan. Most live for 5 to 10 days. These timings are an estimation based on the seasons and not their development time. But for sure the moths are reported on the wing from generally November to December. And the eggs they deposit when temperatures warm up and the vegetation starts growing leaves again in April. The caterpillars feed throughout spring and summer, only to cocoon around July to August. Cocoons remain dormant until temperatures start going down again around autumn and the moths pop out. And then the cycle repeats. This species seems to be more concentrated inland in Taiwan and is not really present in the coastal areas. Their habitat is subtropical, temperate forests of the mountainous regions in Taiwan. During the day it is warm, but at night temperatures drop significantly. They do seem to fly in twilight. Now most of my moths seem to pair early in the evening or early in the morning, right after the sun went down or before the sun came up in the tiniest sliver of light. There does seem to be some considerable variation in color in this species. In particular, the males of this insect seem to vary between light, with more yellow accents, to sometimes dark, to almost entirely orange in some cases. So if you're lucky, you can get some cool variations that I didn't film in this video. Also good to know is that there are more species of Squeaking Silkmoth. There's 8 of them in Asia, in fact. There are many more species, and all of them seem to have Squeaking Caterpillars as well, as far as I know, giving them the common name of Squeaking Silkmoths. So who knows? Maybe with your support we can breed more species of them in the future on my YouTube channel. Rhodinia verecunda, Jankowski, Davidi, Nevara, Rudolfi and Tenzin Yatsoi seem to be recognized species as of today. Anyway, let's not get too deep into this, since this video is about verecunda and not all its brothers and sisters, but it's good for you to understand they are not the only species of Squeaking Silkmoth. Rhodinia seems to prefer temperate to subtropical Asia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, pretty much most of our moths are dead now. These are some of the last to come out. Here's the female who had paired and already laid a lot of eggs. I paired several females in this video. I think, yeah, we had 3 pairings, so that's gonna be plenty of eggs, yeah? Woohoo! Now you know what to do with the eggs. We hibernate them. Let me show you more about that later, actually. I'll tell you that in detail, so don't worry about that detail. So these are kind of actually dead. Rest in peace. I still have 1 male and 1 female that are alive, but the female, her wings are misshapen. Oops. That's too bad. You know, I was surprised actually that until now almost all my specimens were perfectly shaped. But this moth had to come out and ruin it, so I guess we have 1 weird funky specimen. Now don't worry guys, this is not my fault. If you breed moths, no matter how talented or good you are at breeding moths, a small percentage of them is going to be misshapen. It's a very difficult process for them to come out of the pupa and pump up their wings. It's a selective process. Only the moths who have the strength to do it will make it. Of course, factors like temperatures, humidity, vitality, genetics, pathogens and stress, and a lot more play a role in this. But I think in this case it's not my fault, since almost all the moths you've seen in this video were, well, almost perfect. It's just this one who has a problem. Bit of a deformed female. But these are 2 of my last moths. I don't think I'm gonna breed them because I had many pairings of healthy females. I don't need to pair a crippled female. It's bad for the breeding program if you breed crippled specimens. So I only select healthy ones. But yeah, these are two of my last moths. And the rest is dead, so. Guys, do you like my Christmas tree? If you do, then please write it in the comments. Yay! It's funny because I started this video in spring. I'll be filming it in spring and summer and autumn. And now when it's finished, it's Christmas. And it shows you how much time I spend on making these videos. That's a lot of time, huh? Anyway, guys, the amount of time I spend on these videos is also a problem, you see. It's not always sustainable for my channel. Sometimes I struggle to continue making more. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. This video has been a long time in the making. The squeaking caterpillars of this amazing insect have been always among some of the most popular videos on my YouTube channel. I think I have like 2 or 3 videos of these caterpillars that have over 10,000 views. People just love to see it. When you poke them, they start squeaking, and it is amazing. It is an amazing species. Over the years I had a lot of requests for them. Bart, can you do the life cycle of the squeaking silkmoth? Well, finally, here it is, yay! I apologize, guys, if you are waiting for your favorite species to be in my web series MothCycles. That's my web series you watched today. It's one of my most popular ones, in which we raise insects together. But the thing is, these episodes do cost a long time to make, an insanely long time. So, if you want to see stuff like Atlas moth life cycle, Death's Head moth life cycle, Imperial moth life cycle, what else is there? I mean, there's the Japanese oak silk moth. I'll still have to raise that one, the rosy maple moth, and the robin moth. I mean, there's so many species. The Saturniidae pavonia, the small emperor, Saturnia piri, the giant peacock moth, etc, etc, etc. Now, these videos take such a long time to make. I can only make a few of them per year, per season. So the things I just counted on my hand, maybe that's over 1 year of work already. It's over 1 year of breeding. So if you want to see all your favorite species here in MothCycles on my YouTube channel, it's going to happen, but you're going to have to be patient, you know? It's a very exhausting web series for me to make, lots of filming, really a lot of work. And I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys, because I like to be honest with my audience. Doing the work is hard. Doing the work is difficult. Doing the work is difficult because my YouTube channel is demonetized. This YouTube channel is totally demonetized by YouTube. If you watch this video and you enjoyed it, that means you have been watching a video I have been producing since last spring. It's currently January, so it's a production time of, well, I think the eggs started hatching in March. So we had March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, it's a production time of like 11 months. No, it can't be 11 months. I'm just bad at counting. 10 months. Yeah, that makes sense. It's difficult to calculate because I don't know when it was exactly again that the eggs hatched. Let's just say it was like 7 or 8 months that I've been working on one video that probably doesn't get a lot of views. Because moths are not popular. I'm trying to market them, I'm trying to make them more popular on social media, so more young people care about them, so more young people start caring about nature and insects. But it's hard, it's not a popular subject, so I'm working my ass off to make videos that, well, don't get that much views. I'm one of the biggest moth channels on YouTube with only 25,000 subscribers. If you look at ants and tarantulas, there's channels with millions of subscribers. Anyway, there's one big issue, and that's this stuff. Money. See, my YouTube channel, like I said, is demonetized by YouTube. Totally demonetized. So that means when I upload a video, when I put so much work in a project like this, YouTube doesn't pay me anything. Not even 1 cent, like nothing. YouTube doesn't support this channel at all. Therefore I have something called crowdfunding. All the income I get is from my fans and viewers, in the form of donations. And therefore I have to remind people, if you watch this video, if you like the show and you want it to continue in the future, consider donating to my channel. Let's take this thing off. Oh, it ruined my haircut. Epic. You see, I'm gonna be totally honest, because financially it is difficult sometimes to continue this channel. I have so many subscribers. I even have a little bit of internet fame. But what I make on this channel is usually between $200 to $400 a month. That's a good amount, by the way. I would never sound ungrateful. I am super grateful to everybody who donated, okay? I don't ever want to be entitled to your hard-earned money. However, you have to understand that when I'm working on enormously long production time videos like these, progress is slow. Sometimes in summer especially, I'm working almost full time to make new videos for $200 to $400 a month. And that's hard because as of today, I am spending more money on this channel than I make from it. I'm not making a living from doing this right now, but I am getting some of my costs back. I think on average it costs about $600 a month for me to run this channel. That's how much I spend on the insects and free time. $600 to $700 a month. And I make about half of it back. Now that's fantastic. I don't mind spending money on this channel because I see it as an investment. And to make a company grow, you have to spend money on it for it to grow bigger. It's kind of like throwing fuel on a fire. You want to fuel the fire until it's warm enough to warm you up, right? And that's how I see it. So it's crazy how since the inception of this channel, I've never really been able to profit from it. Now we live in a capitalist society and we don't have to profit from anything. I understand there's more value in the world than just monetary value. In fact, I understand better than most people, considering I wouldn't be doing this if my motivation was money, right? That would make no sense. If I wanted to make money from this, I wouldn't be here right now because it's not making money. But I have to be honest, the crowdfunding stuff and reminding people to donate is super important for me and my channel. It really helps. Even as little as $1 really helps a lot. Especially if you make content like me. You can watch my other videos in this series. Some of them have life cycles that take over a year in captivity. That's a lot of dedication I have. So my message is, if you like the show, if you like this channel, you can make my life easier and I can entertain you. So that's a win-win, right? I can make the videos you love to watch and you can help me make more videos. So we helping each other. I think this channel, I think in my opinion it's important. It spreads free, accessible information and knowledge about insects to people who otherwise may not have access to it or don't know where to find the sources. A lot of time you actually have to pay to have access to scientific sources. On my channel, you don't need to buy a book. You can literally see all the life stages for free and some surface level faunistic information. I think that's very valuable of a service. But it's hard to monetize something like moths. And I'm gonna be honest, I do try to crowdfund some of my costs. That will make it so much easier if that was possible. If you like the show, consider sending me a tip or donation through PayPal or Patreon, for example. You can buy a subscription on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You can send a single amount via PayPal or Ko-Fi. Just click the description below this video and see all the options there's available. Now, I apologize for begging people. I don't like doing it Even after all those years, it's still embarrassing to me. Like, I don't know, it feels like I'm groveling and I don't like that. I don't like it at all. But I don't see any other way to continue. There's no companies and stuff supporting me. It's just me and a handful of people who are interested in my videos. Otherwise, I do have some very good news. Yeah. What's this? A Brazilian flag? That's true. You see, my channel is making progress. It's not like I'm sitting here making video after video and not having any progress at all. Recently something huge happened. I got myself a gig in the rainforest, in the Atlantic rainforest of the country Brazil. Now, I think I told you before earlier in this video, but the Atlantic rainforest is one of the most deforested rainforests in the world. Now, I've always been an environmentalist, and one of my dreams is always to do something back for nature. And I'm going to the Atlantic rainforest and I'm going to be planting new trees in places where the rainforest has been deforested. There's a tree nursery, so we will be helping against deforestation. Second of all, I will be researching butterflies and moths there. I will be making observations there, moth trapping, collecting data on rare butterflies and moths. And the interesting ones, I will be photographing, documenting them and sharing my data with a team of entomologists who work there. So the things I will be able to see and find in the rainforest will be valuable and important to their conservation. And that is awesome. How do I manage to do it? Well, let's just say that it's my generous fans who paid for it. I will share perhaps with you the details later, because it makes more sense to talk about it afterwards or while it's happening. But yeah, it is thanks to this channel that I will be able to do this. And it looks like in the future this channel will be able to make a difference, like scientifically and environmentally, which has always been my dream. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, because you're going to see some awesome stuff. Last but not least, if you want to help me out, consider donating to this channel. Not only will it help me, it will help my research project and conservation project in the rainforest. So it's safe to say is when you support this channel, you are not only supporting me as a person, you are also supporting my work with conservation of insects and the environment, and that, my friends, is a win-win-win. Yay! Anyway, that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Sorry for this segment, I have to include it. And I hope to see you next time in the next episode. Let's play the credits. Bye bye!